Piccolo, stop standing there like a cucumber in a body cast and help me, you absolute spoon. This may surprise you, but I love anime. I love manga, I love video games. All throughout my life, these things have been true, so when I'm not caressing my Toru body pillow or chewing on tinfoil, I'm probably consuming one of those types of media. One of my fondest series, like most of the world, has been the Dragonball franchise. Some of my earliest memories are of watching the English dub of the Frieza saga on Toonami after getting home from preschool, and please don't do the math on that statement. Just like most other people who've fallen in love with Akira Toriyama's masterpiece, I've played a lot of the games that the properties spawned. Some of these are top tier games that I have nothing but good memories of and have almost nothing but good things to say about, thanks to the power of rose-tinted glasses. There is one game that I never played till now that I remember being everywhere as a kid. Legacy of Goku for the Game Boy Advance. I was always curious about it, but for some reason I just never ended up with a copy as a kid. Well, I finally played it, and I have some thoughts to share. First though, a massive thanks to my Patreon people and everyone here on YouTube helping my channel thrive. You can support on Patreon for just $2 a month, and I have a Discord where we say nice things to each other and share nonsense. Links to both are in the description. We start up and look at this gloriously crunchy opening. Clips of the anime montaged together with the finest compression 2002 had to offer and some decently fitting music. Then the title screen pops up and no title, no stylized art, just this background with PNGs of the DBZ logo and Goku slapped on it. Not the best first impression, but I remain hopeful. The menu noises are Scouter and Capsule Corp noises, which is something almost all DBZ games do, but I still appreciate it. We press start, and after a very, very brief and vague summary of the story, we're put on Roshi's Island and we just control Goku now. No other setup, no idea what's happening if you didn't watch the anime or read the manga. After walking around, getting a feel for the controls, and talking to people, we are greeted with this amazing character portrait of Master Roshi, and he tasks us with recollecting his adult magazines, which he apparently lost, even though they're all within 50 feet of him. With that done, we get Raditz very abruptly coming in, talking smack, and dumping the info that Goku is actually an alien called a Saiyan. He abducts Gohan and takes off. Piccolo comes in, and if you had no knowledge of the series, you'd be very confused about why everyone seems to not like Scary Pickle Man. He suggests a team up against the more powerful mutual enemy, and like that, we're off on Goku's flying Nimbus. This screen is surreal. It's really weird to see Goku on the Nimbus again. I almost forgot that it existed. That screen fades, and now I'm in front of Goku's house. And I figure out very early that there is no tutorial. I also have no map and no clear direction, so we are doing this old school. I spend my time wishing there was a run button as we wander around Goku's forest home searching for plot. After some exploration, we find some crabs that Gohan evidently overfed to the point of mutation, and combat ensues. Dragon Ball as a whole has always been famous for its completely over-the-top, high-tension, engaging fights, so what does combat look like here? If you thought, wow, that looked tedious, then you are correct, it was. Hit detection is wildly inaccurate, positioning correctly is near impossible, and there must be some behind the scenes math going on because sometimes I seem to hit or get hit for massive damage and others barely any. For now, this is combat. Use one punch like I'm Saitama, occasionally use a little ki blast that looks like a Hadouken got left in a washing machine, and running away is a vital part of combat. Punch some wolves and more crabs and gain some levels, which I will praise, it does feel good when you level up. It feels like I genuinely do noticeably more damage. There is also an apparent snake infestation, and yeah, they are everywhere. They inflict some damage if stepped on, but you can just avoid them or give them a little hadoinky, no problem there. Again, no map, no objective, so keep exploring while listening to the music, and the music sounds roughly like every generic RPG on the GBA. It's not bad or anything, just nothing special. Also worth mentioning, the menus are very bare bones, calling back to RPGs from a full console generation prior. Menu presentation is extremely important in an RPG, even an action RPG, so that's a bit disappointing. After messing around for a while, I accidentally blast a squirrel and spend the next 5 minutes crying about it IRL. I make my way towards the next area, and visually, Legacy of Goku is pretty nice, especially for an early GBA title. It's a very well-aged style style of soft sprite art. I talked to what I think is a pterodactyl, but I could be wrong since I'm no podiatrist. They give us a side quest in the form of recovering their egg, but for the scope of this video, I'm not going to be seeking out side quests, though I will complete any that I stumble into naturally. I pick up a stone that I can't figure out the purpose of, so I open the inventory to figure it out, and there are no item descriptions whatsoever. Okay, so no map, bare menus, no descriptions or explanation of controls or mechanics. What a throwback. Back in the days of old, a lot of, if not most games required you have and fully read the manual to know what the hell you're doing. I never figure out what those stones are for either. Rocks in tow, I get back to the core of the early game, awkwardly punching wolves in the face and exploring. This is roughly where flight is introduced as a mechanic in an odd and pointless design choice. Flight is a limited resource that drains very fast, depleting with every tile you move. It can be very unclear what you can and can't fly over or across, and it's pointless having it as a depletable resource because there's flight recovery items everywhere. If it's a puzzle requiring flight, there's respawning flight items near it. Why do this? It doesn't really take much away from the game, I'm just genuinely curious. So after getting a bit too cocky, I die very tragically, and when I saw this game over screen the first time, I genuinely laughed so hard I couldn't breathe. So, another point, this game is hard, really hard. I don't mean in the sense that it's an intentionally difficult and challenging game, more in the sense that its tedious combat is combined with the fact that Goku is made of very soggy tissue paper and results in a very frustrating experience. We press on, and I very much enjoy Goku's idle animation. I love tiny stuff like this. Thankfully, you can save whenever and wherever, and I urge you to do it often. Save so very often. More leveling and exploration down, I found and talked to Tien and Chaozu and gained XP for it, flew across a little stream, and started to fight the first major enemy. Behold a dinosaur, and behold the epic struggle that unfolded. So as you can see, for right now, combat with major enemies is run or fly away, get in 1 or 2 charged ki blasts, use healing items as necessary, and repeat this process for a mind-numbing amount of time. So far I am disappointed, but it's just the first level, so let's remain hopeful and fair here. About 5 minutes later, and the dino is down like the sickness, and we are moving on. I find this little collection of houses and explore a bit. I fly here and there, walk up some stairs, and find a cat. Now I have a cat and no idea where to bring it. Time to talk to people to find out about the cat. These people tell me their daughter is missing, and I smell another objective. I do find her and realize I can't have more than one thing following me, so until I find where this cat goes, I just have to leave this child here to fend for herself. Here's a nice little detail I found, by the way. In this house, there's a poster of Mr. Satan on the wall. Despite him not being known to Goku and friends at this point in the story, I like that he's still known to other people. It makes it feel like he was always around and a known figure, just not to our DBZ friends. Some more exploring, and I talked to Yamcha and Puar, gaining more experience for it, and I finally realized there was this path I completely ignored earlier. Past me is once again my worst enemy. We return the cat to this old man who has a massive skeleton embedded in his home and leave to help the child we left unattended on a cliff. With her home and a toy boat rescued for this boy, we head back to Old Man Bonewalls, and for some reason he teaches us solar flare. That's not how Goku learned that, but yeah, okay. It was also around this time that I realized I had been missing all these health restoring herbs because it is very unclear what you can pick up and what's decorative. So I had just been walking by all of them. Right behind his house, we find Piccolo staring at Gohan, who is about 15 feet away, while Raditz paces aimlessly about 20 feet away. Time to save our son. Right, try that again. Time to save our son. So Solar Flare is useless since I could only get it to stun Raditz for half a second at most, which isn't even enough time to run away. And I realized that melee combat is my enemy here. After about 5 minutes of using herbs and the trusty runaway and ki blast strat, Raditz finally goes down, and Piccolo uses a special beam cannon to give Goku and Raditz some new holes. I genuinely almost started crying here while reading Goku's goodbye to Gohan. I forgot how emotional early DBZ could actually be. Smash cut right to King Yemma's desk, talk to him and he tells you not to cause any trouble like your brother. A quick word with Kami has him telling us that 2 more Saiyan warriors are on the way and that Goku needs to go to the end of Snake Way to train with King Kai in preparation. Slowly walking along Snake Way, you take damage if you get too close to the edge, and Goku's injury noises sound like he's passing a kidney stone. Then Demon Mommy here tries to eat me, and Goku loses his footing and falls off Snake Way and down into HFIL, the home for infinite losers. These Angie spirits that look like they've been hitting the pendulum wander around, and they will damage you if you come into contact with them. They also are worth some decent XP, so it's on site with them now. Find this gym, listen to Goku muse about buns of iron, talk to some demons, and I am profoundly unsure what I need to be doing. I admit this could very well be a result of my own stupidity, but I wander the entire area over and over for about 45 minutes. By this point, I've killed every enemy here, and they do not respawn in this level. I've also flown all over every surface possible, and I think I'm starting to understand flight. I'm not finding my objective though, so a quick Google later, and it turns out that design is actually important. So what I meant to do is help the demon by the gym so they can tell their friend to show us back to Snake Way. I do this by finding and returning 3 good spirits to him, but they look the same as the bad ones. There is only very slight visual distinction here for these good spirits, and so far, we've been taught that getting close to something that looks like this causes us pain. Bad design choice. The spirits get returned to Office Demon, and we get back to Snake Way. We start at the very beginning of Snake Way again, but now we have flight recovery items everywhere, so we get the satisfaction of saying screw this and flying ourselves right to the end. I actually appreciate this choice, letting us get that first taste of how long this would take on foot, and then returning us here with the means to just give it a big ol' middle finger. On King Kai's planet now, and our training is to catch Bubbles the monkey and then Gregory the cricket. It's a bit frustrating at first, but I corner that damn dirty ape and give him the old Saiyan slammer. Gregory gets smushed with this comically large mallet, and King Kai teaches us that. I can excuse the solar flare, but excuse me? Moving on. We're back in the world of the living on Kami's tower. After catching up with Master Korin and Mr. Popo, we fly down to the surface. Some things real quick. The Kamehameha is tiny, it's orange, and it's somewhat short-ranged. What? The sound clip that plays when it's fully charged is nice though. I appreciate that. We walk the icy wilderness, fry some dinos, boil some wolves, and find yet another child on a cliff. Why is this a regular problem? Goku escorts Cliff Child back to Cliff Parent, we stop this bank robbery, and I think I may be underleveled because the normal robbers tear me up a few times. Makes sense, as I've not been grinding at all. The police do nothing and watch a vigilante dispense actual justice, as is tradition, and we move south. Goku saunters his way through this incredibly not secure military base into the wasteland, and we find Vegeta and Nappa, fresh off of killing most of the Z-Fighters. This game really glosses over so much important stuff. This is when I realize how I should have been using the solar flare. Use it on the enemy at desired distance, charge Kamehameha, or apply fist once or twice, get distance, and repeat. I have to admit that as tedious as that sounds, I started to somewhat enjoy combat here. It's very cat and mouse. It's slow and strategic, and admittedly tense, since Goku is by no means invincible in this game. Big bald auto parts goes down, and we cook vegetable thoroughly. Again, a huge amount of plot and story is condensed into a few text boxes. Time for Planet Namek, where we suddenly find ourselves. This is a breakneck pace story-wise, Jesus. Namek is crawling with Frieza soldiers, and I take advantage of my new understanding of combat to gain some XP. It's also around this point that I realized that saving saves your items, levels, and XP, but not everything else. So when I restart a save, I'm at the beginning of the area I saved in with all my health returned. Save abuse will be present from now on. Our first real order of business is to find 3 saplings for this dying Namekian. I'm not really sure why, but here we are. I would have a lot more to say if there were more to talk about here, but it's really the same as before. We fly and walk around, enjoy some more combat, find the things and bring them back. Even a lot of the enemies are the same, with Earth dinosaurs making a return here. Now Goku heads north to this ancient Namekian temple. Apparently I need 3 artifacts to progress, which I know because I looked it up. 2 of 3 are outside the temple, and I spend a good hour or so just grinding like crazy. I genuinely had stopped remembering to write down notes by this point because I was starting to enjoy myself so much. After power leveling, I feel pretty damn powerful and can take most things out in 1 to 2 Kamehamehas. I entered the temple for the final artifact, sussing out fake walls and hidden passages with the guidance of the big fingers. And why is the green artifact not in this room? It's supposed to be here, so I try everything from reloading, exiting the area, resetting my entire system. But nothing works. And then I realized, after finding an altar and placing 2 of the artifacts, that I already had gotten the green one and forgot about it. I then realized I'm missing the blue one, not the green one. The blue one was outside, being sat on by a dinosaur, but when I was there earlier, I got distracted by the dinosaur and never picked it up. Feeling rather stupid, I head back up the cliff, kill the dinosaur, and make my way back once again to the altar. Getting to which requires going through this warp pad puzzle and a bit of a maze traversal. It's not bad, but a weird mechanic to introduce this late in the game. So with the path open, we make it out of the temple to find Krillin, Gohan, and Vegeta staring off into the distance at the Ginyu Force. Though with how weak they are, they might as well be called the Ginyu Farce. It's entirely a forgettable fight, but it does make you feel as powerful as Goku appeared when he arrived and wrecked the Ginyu Force in the anime. So well done, game. I'm really enjoying myself by this point. I leveled hard, and I was rewarded for it in a way that also makes sense for the story. I do find it funny, though, that Guldo isn't even mentioned. Poor, stinky Guldo. Another screenshot from the anime comes on screen, and when it fades, Goku is now near Frieza's ship. This area is small, and from what I can gather is more for gathering items and grinding out XP. Heading east, we reach Frieza's ship and head inside, where our friends tell us to please, for the love of God, take a break. I appreciate that this room has an opening that Goku remarks about, mentioning that he could fly out and train more on Frieza's soldiers if he didn't feel ready. I appreciate this soft lock prevention in an era of games where that wasn't always standard. I am ready. Let's get moist in the pod and head to the final fight of the game. Arriving at the battlefield has King Kai tell us that you should subscribe. Wait, no. He tells us that the planet is unstable and we need to finish things fast. I know I shouldn't be bothered by this at this point, but that's not how things happened. Frieza greets us in his base form, and we fight through each of his forms in order, even though, again, not what happened. Krillin gets exploded, Goku explodes in anger in a very underwhelming scene, and we make Frieza explode using the same solar flare and attack combo that's been carrying us through every fight. Frieza is defeated, and the credits roll before returning us back to the title screen. There is no post-game. I don't know what I expected for post-game, but I'm still sad it's not here. So that was Legacy of Goku. I want to be honest, I went in assuming I'd have a bunch of negative things to say and jokes to make at the game's expense. I was wrong though. While it's certainly nothing special now, for the time this was probably incredible to play. Astounding that I never did, considering how obsessed with DBZ I was around that time. It has a lot of mechanics that aren't great, and a lot of systems that make it painfully dated and somewhat frustrating to play, but the foundation is actually pretty solid. I can understand why scores for this game tend to hover in the middle. This wasn't mind-blowing by any means, but I did have fun playing through it. If I had done more side quests, I imagine it might have changed my thoughts, but as of now, I like this. It is an absolutely okay game that you might enjoy if you like DBZ or just Game Boy Advance games in general. Bro, Vegeta's pants are absolutely stuffed with fish right now. This may surprise you, but I love— wait, I already did this in the last video. Hold on. 2003. Dragon Ball Z. These things vaguely rhyme, but what else do they have in common? Why, Legacy of Goku 2 for the Game Boy Advance, of course. Only 1 year after the modest success of the first game, developer Webfoot cooked like their life depended on it and saw it fit that we get more of that sweet action RPG sauce slathered on our collective hams. Just like the first game, I've never played it till now, and also like the first game, I remember it being everywhere. So today I set out to confront the hype I remember as a child and find out if it lives up to that lofty memory. Based on comments and feedback from the first video, I have high hopes for this game. So if it's bad, I hold all of you personally responsible. So I wrote this intro like a week and a half ago, and I left a note that just says Gen 1 Machop joke, and I don't remember what that means. Do with that what you will. Developed by Webfoot once again and published by Atari, this follow-up entry kicks off with this pretty sick intro. Like, the music and visuals are pretty good for a 2003 Game Boy Advance game, and it's way better than the start of 1. The start screen has character, and it looks nice. We get several save slots to choose from too this time around. So a new game, it starts with a lot more style and exposition. The text boxes are far more stylized here too. Looks nice and right on brand. The game gives us this refresher on the story so far, unlike the first game, and a reminder that Goku and company are aliens capable of destroying planets. Already, the character portraits are looking way better. And as we open in the future, we see a charming young man named Trunks giving us some exposition in a conversation to future Gohan. And Gohan just destroys him. So yeah, our mad lad Trunks is the biggest mad right now about the androids that have turned this future into an apocalyptic wasteland. Gohan doesn't want him to fight though. I hear he's pitiful. There's a tutorial this time. Okay, hello. It's quick, practical, and even makes narrative sense as a warm-up exercise for Trunks. Movement and attacking feels good. Movement speed has been improved, thank God. Trunks tries to go... I wrote Super Aryan in the script. Trunks tries to go Super Saiyan, but can't, and then the training is interrupted by those dang old battle droids, so Gohan takes off. Before we follow, though... Oh yes, look at that. Stylized, informative. There's a journal for quests, stats, a move list. This is a huge step up from the first game. There's even a sleep mode in the options. Remember that? Remember having to rely on the game to have a sleep option instead of it being a standard? Good times. Sadly, Gohan is having none of this and knocks Trunks out with a proper chop to the neck, setting off to fight the androids alone despite, losing a whole ass arm to them before. Oh, and flight is now a travel mechanic specific to these pads. Much better, makes way more sense. I like it. We arrive just in time to see Gohan cosplaying as a training dummy and cut away from the scene as Trunks is overcome with rage and transforms. Back to the present, where we gain control of our main character of the Cell Saga, the teenage Gohan. He's pretty impatient for Goku to return from canceling Frieza's subscription to life. Hey, we got our first quest, and we get informed about how it works. This is beautiful. Okay, so find the math book. Got it. I can't get over how much better everything looks and sounds. Webfoot really outdid themselves here. Almost every complaint I had with the first game has already been addressed, and I've been playing for less than 10 minutes. I guess we'll see how it handles my remaining complaints, but I'm getting really excited to play, so let's find that book. Even today, being able to explore Goku's house is so cool. An explanation on picking up items. And even a cute little pickup animation. Let's see... Yeah, item explanations. That's another complaint down. Gohan sits down to study, yawns, and takes a little nappy instead, which is pretty relatable. When he comes to, the sun is shining through his now open window, and he decides to head out for some fresh air. And another complaint down, saving is done at specific save points, so no more abusing that. And they're very clearly marked and hard to miss too. Nice. A little exploring, and we pick up this capsule and get a nice explanation of what it does, and the inventory also gives a brief refresher on its function. The way this is going, it feels like Legacy of Goku 1 was a proof of concept or something, because Webfoot clearly knows how to design a game. I still wish there was one step ahead of me, I see. Thank the various elder gods, we can finally run. Some urgency, finally. And here we run into a level gate that requires we be a certain level and character to progress, and I really like this. It's super video gamey for sure, but it also ensures that you're always at the bare minimum level to handle what's next. There's definitely downsides to this, but I think it fits fine here. Do a vandalism and run into a few trees because I like the little animation when you hit something while running. I also stop here to make notes and find another charming little idle animation, and each character even has a different one. Right, time for some psychological horror. We see this slightly off Goku, and Gohan talks at him, but he goes non-verbal like me and becomes Frieza. Sadly not like me. This was interesting. I died quite a few times as I got used to the combat. Overall, it feels way better. Far more accurate and forgiving with hitboxes, at least as much as an isometric angle like this will allow for. These death screens continue to be amazing. Melee combat feels pretty good. Your hits feel responsive and weighty and satisfying to hit with, and ki is now something to ration and use strategically. In the first game, it just refilled itself rather quickly. I am loving this so far. And it turns out the fight was all a dream. Gohan wakes up and realizes he was sensing Frieza's energy. Krillin felt it too and came to let you know. It's off to battle and Gohan needs his Saiyan armor. The character sprite even changes to reflect the armor. But if he was trying to keep it hidden, why put it in a big ass chest in plain sight in a cave? Just asking. We head out to the other side of the cave and find a world map which lets us travel to... God, I love this game. So the world map is like the ones in the Sparking games. Something I loved about them. Except here, it's full-on fake 3D using some perspective tricks, and it looks amazing. This would have blown my mind as a kid. We even get a destination marker. Oh, this game is good. Head to the destination, and this time around, we have some actual enemy variety. Different methods of attack, different stats, different designs, the whole package. I hate these little beetle bastards so much. While I die a few more times, I want to mention the music. It exists, and it's better now. Nothing crazy or worth mentioning specifically, but it's less generic, and a few of the tunes even got stuck in my head once or twice. This wasteland is filled with furries in leather jackets. Don't fight me, I'm one of you! So yeah, combat is already pretty fun. The damage numbers are shown above the sprites, so you can actually see crits and such, and it requires some actual effort here. I should mention, even with a good handle on the combat, this game is challenging. It's definitely not shy about expecting you to get good with the tools that it gives you. After I spend some quality time grinding on furries and dying a lot, it's time to progress some story. Getting through the wasteland sees us reuniting with all the other Z fighters ready to confront certain death in the form of Frieza. Does a good job hyping up Frieza too. All the Z fighters here are basically like, yep, we gonna die doing this shit. I've always wished we got more of King Cold though. It would have been pretty neat to see more of their power in the way that the royal family works. Sadly for me, after Frieza exits his ship, he's stopped by future Trunks, who promptly tans Frieza's wrinkly hide and gives the king the old 7-10 split. I love King Cold's reaction here, the sprites are so expressive. Trunks tells us he knows when and where Goku is going to return from Namek, and it's now. And it's nearby. The heroes follow him without too much question, since Trunks could obliterate all of them at this point. While we wait for funny fightmen, Trunks says some cryptic stuff and then Goku crash lands in an odd outfit he refuses to explain. The gang gets Goku up to speed and Trunks and Goku get some privacy. Trunks drops the info that he's from 20 years into the future, the state of the world, and Goku's fate. In 3 years, these androids will appear and Goku will have been struck down by a heart virus. Fortunately, Trunks has an antidote and he's totally down to play with the timeline. I'm very happy that they included dialogue beyond the bare minimum this time. It feels like I'm, playing a game based on a beloved franchise with plenty of character to pull from. Well, with this info in hand, time to train. We return to Goku's house and head south to grind. Sweet 8-pound, 6-ounce baby Jesus, they referenced the Garlic Jr. movie to explain why the animals are hostile. The Blackwater Mist is actually used as a reasonable explanation. This is incredible. The core RPG elements are great here. I want to grind. I want to experience more combat with more enemies and get powerful enough to face down whatever I come across. These wild dogs, I think, are horrifying. Little side note, I like it that when you level up, it tells you your stat increases. A mechanic that's carried over from the first game is finding things in rocks, except this time, they're not storable items, they're pickups, for both ki and health, so no hoarding items this time around. The only item you do get is up to 3 senzu beans at a time, so being careful and strategic is essential. It's way more funny to me than it should be, but you can find whole cooked chickens in rocks, and it made me laugh for like a solid minute. Moving on. Time to hit up West City. Looks like there's a parade today, and this float is blocking our path. It's him. Oh, he's glorious. Mr. Satan won't get this party started until someone gets him an open-faced club sandwich. So, I see where this is going already. He gave us an autograph, and I have a suspicion that this is a huge give this to this person to get this thing another person needs, etc. type of quest. And no one is getting Hercule a damn open-faced club sandwich. Time to solve this national disaster. Yo, it's Circuit Shack. How much you think for that Game Boy and some of these Genesis games? I like the commercial that plays on all the TVs. It just says papaya over and over. This is art. It's nice that we get these little map posts, but I still really would like a proper map I can use. Dr. Vinyl, we find a super hipster named Cosmo here, and I have a bad feeling he's going to tell me to name 3 songs by the artist on my band tee. So as I explore, I'm already seeing what's going to happen, and I question why they're making us spend time doing this. This is fluff we really didn't need, and it's not great for the pacing of the game. Whatever though, we're playing through. Oh my god, this poor lady. Thoughts and prayers. Calling it right now, we're gonna have to run back and forth between all these stores. See, me going through all these actually had a point. And calling it was a good idea because I was right. Here's how it works. We need a paper to give to the chef at the restaurant so he can give us a goddamn open-faced club sandwich so we can give that to Hercule. But the newspaper person is apparently to the north of town observing a school bus crash. Since I'd never leave a child in danger in a video game, we have no choice but to go help those kids. Right after I spend like an hour grinding. We're coming to save you, I promise. Oh god, this kid is about to get eaten. Punch some wolves and that's 1 child saved out of a number bigger than 1. We also run into Yajirobe, who gives us a senzu bean. I love Yajirobe. We find another kid in a cave, get the shit kicked out of us by some wild animals, and fly down this cliff with a small girl on it, and deja vu. Weird. More snakes, more wolf things, and more chicken boulders. We run to the newspaperman with the kids, and he goes back to his stand. Gohan follows, and we got our paper, which means we can take it to the chef and finally get a fucking open-faced club sandwich. Okay, that wasn't too bad. So let's just get this culinary curiosity back to Bulk Brogan, and god damn it, that's not the end. I knew this was too fast. Now the music's all wrong for Mr. Satan's big parade. He needs... Eyes of the Lion. It's so stupid and I adore it. Off we go to Dr. Vinyl, but Hipster Man tells us it's old and busted, so we should check out the antique store. At the antique store, the guy just gives it to us because it's so bad no one would buy it. Yeah, okay. So now we're done, yeah? Yeah. Our path to Piccolo is open, but one thing first, Bulma wants to give us something over at Capsule Corp. I imagine it's important, and I like presents, so of course I'm gonna check it out. Here in the Garden of Capsule Corp, we can also find a dojo where we can fight some of the Z Fighters for capsules and XP, but our goal is Blue Hair Mommy, so we must stay focused. We run into Dr. Briefs, and he gives us a side quest to find all 25 golden capsules that got lost. I will not achieve that in this playthrough. I get poor Gohan lost for a bit, and we consume a dangerous amount of Mrs. Brief's cookies. That's not a euphemism, I promise. We find Bulma, who greets us with the news that she has a scouter for us if we go to the electronics store in town and get the final part that she needs. Sick, let's do it. We hop on back to the lost holy land of Circuit Shack, and for once it's not a series of fetch quests. He just gives us the part. Once we get the part back to Bulma, she gifts us with a scouter. I finally got my map. Not only do I have a local map, you can scan people and things for little bios and stats on them. I love stuff like this so much, and there's even a database where you can look at all of them, which we'll get to shortly. Before that, we have a bit of a mystery on our hands. See, there's a security breach that we've just been tasked with looking into. Isn't there a looming crisis or something? Paul Blart here gives us the fat skinny on the scandal, and it turns out someone has taken off with experimental capsules. We get an access card that opens previously locked doors, and with a spring in our step and a scouter on our eyeball, we find a way up this tower and confront the thief who... Bro just tried to Pokemon battle me, but thankfully, my fist is super effective against Zigzagoon here. Turns out Caps Corp is literally making Pokeballs now. Capsules that can hold living things. Gee, I'm mentioning Pokemon a lot. Is that foreshadowing? Now that we've apprehended the miscreant and put him in laser jail, we get the red key card and can access that database I mentioned before. Neat. off to Piccolo. This is where we're introduced to character swapping, which can only happen at save points. Characters don't share levels, so they have to grind separately, but they do share an inventory and are thankfully decently leveled when you get access to them. It ain't easy being green, but young Gherkin here needs to speak to the mayor. And when we do, we learn about Triceratops rampaging in a town nearby, and so the fluff continues. Does the phrase androids ring a bell? Anyone? Why is no one concerned? It's not as if this filler is all that bad. It's varied and in character for the series, but it did completely halt the pace that the game had, at least for me. Either way, off we go to the south to do something about those horny dinos. Time to grind up before that, and this is something I noticed throughout the game. When you gain a new character, these Kuma mercenaries show up in the next area. They're relatively easy to kill each time, but they're always worth crazy XP. I don't know if this was an intentional design choice, but it is beautiful. It's so subtle I didn't even notice this until near the end of the game. Then again, I'm also a goldfish-brained goblin, so maybe that's a factor in me noticing things. All these environments are so nice and varied. It's colorful, detailed, and very pretty, which is a sharp contrast to the mostly samey environments of the first game. Well done, Webfoot. Once we head south, we get trampled. Well, so there's this Triceratops king that lives in this corn maze. Okay. And he's making all the other Triceratops really ornery. Okay. So we have to walk through this maze and avoid packs of Triceratops that will stun lock you and are invincible. Why aren't we just flying over this shit? A maze only works when you can't see the layout. We can fly. Why are we getting trampled into relish right now? Logic aside, we make it to the king and he completely wrecks Piccolo. This cycle continues for about 15 minutes before I switch to Gohan and realize how much better his stats are even at the same level. Gohan is way more effective, and we give the king a proper crowning, which has him apologizing and promising to live in peace with the villagers before he goes to sulk. Can we finally meet up with Goku, please? Holy shit, on the way back to town, Cooler just drops by and tells us he's gonna wait for Goku on Namek for a fight. I love the incorporation of the movies in this game. Sadly, I forgot to check out this fight until I was already done with the game and writing the script, so Cooler's just up there waiting for years and years. Okay, Mayor McPup, we solved the issue, so someone just stole the key to the city as it was being gifted to Hercule, and he can't get it back himself because his leg was injured while fighting sharks. I do like the consistency of Hercule's character, making flimsy excuses to avoid an actual fight. So now Piccolo carves a swath of destruction through the nearby forest, destroying RPG using mercs and more of these frickin' beetles as he makes his way up in levels and through the forest. So at the end of this little rainbow of adventure, there's an old man who is apparently the one that actually took care of the city's bandit problem. He's mad about Hercule taking credit for his work, so he stole the key and sealed it in a nearby cave with magic. This dude scares me. Look, he says he went straight up medieval on those bandits, but he's willing to give it back without any trouble, and we let off some steam on his punching bag before we head off for the cave. This local map, by the way, love it. Wanna marry it. Makes things so much less infuriating. Key in hand, we get it back to the mayor so he can hand it to Hercule while no one listens to us trying to expose Hercule. Riveting. Finally, we meet up with Goku, and the devs knew this was tedious padding. When you talk to Goku, he asks if we had a good time in West City, and Piccolo says he doesn't want to talk about it. Now then, it's 3-year time skip time. Post-skip Piccolo can now use the special beam cannon, and Gohan can use the Masenko. Roshi has some other techniques for us though if we want to stop by. Well, we do want. Give me that shit. Getting to Roshi's island has us seeing Marin. I forgot she even existed. If you use the scouter, her bio says the scouter can't detect any brain activity. So Master Roshi gives Piccolo the spinning punch, Gohan gets a super kick, and I forgot that charged melee attacks existed for the rest of the game, so this information is now useless to you. You're welcome, please subscribe. Now at Amenbo Island, we wait alongside all the Z-Fighters. Goku breaks the news that Trunks is Bulma and Vegeta's baby, and the androids are late. Don't they know who I am? So after they briefly feel the android's presence, the Z-Fighters split up to search the nearby city. Yamcha finds them first and does, well, Yamcha things. Goku doesn't want innocent people getting hurt by the fighting, so Father Time here just kills everyone instead. People can't get hurt if no people. Meanwhile, Vegeta is on a space rock having a meltdown that results in finally achieving Super Saiyan form. While Vegeta makes his way to everyone, Goku prepares to face off against the Michelin Man. I could be wrong about this, but it seems like every character has slightly different speeds and ranges and such. Not sure if that's just my imagination though. So while grinding, I decided to try out this here transformation and let's talk about it. Super Saiyan mechanically makes you faster, tougher, and stronger, and it also feels pretty damn good. It drains your ki continuously, but you can also really beat down enemies while Super Saiyan, so it's a good balance. It's super powerful, but not sustainable. Making it a strategic choice was a good direction to go. You can't just pop into it either. You can be interrupted in the power-up animation. This means you need to weigh out whether this is a safe moment to try and power up or if you should wait. It makes grinding way more efficient too. Grinding on furries continues to be a favorite hobby of mine as Vegeta's level shoots higher than my mom's expectations. And after about a half hour, it's main quest time. Back to Goku as he assaults the funny Marshmallow Mechano Man, completely overpowering him. But then, suddenly, Goku's heart is attacked by the virus Trunks warned us about, and he collapses right as Vegeta arrives on the scene. I lock in that Super Saiyan transformation and absolutely beat the hell out of Android 19. Easy, easy. Dr. Garo lives up to his name and vomits out some trash talk before running away, and Vegeta publicly strokes his own ego before taking off after him. So naturally, I instead switch to Gohan and grind some more. I keep getting impatient with the pacing, and then I spend an hour just punching random enemies, and I am aware of my contradiction. Still gonna do it though. Time to switch back to Vegeta and brutalize an old man. It's around this time I started to figure out that the hitboxes are very literally based on the sprites themselves. Meaning if an enemy is above you, they're harder to hit than if they were below you because of the slight overlap in the sprites. I still lose fights in stupid ways, even knowing this. So with the Doctor humbled, Trunks pops up. Vegeta connects the dots on him being his son from the future, and Trunks is powerfully confused because 19 and 20 aren't the androids from his future. In the confusion, the Doctor takes off, proclaiming that 17 and 18 will kill us all. We don't want that. So let's find his lab and take care of this right now. After about 10 minutes of decimating the local wildlife, Wrinkles pops in for a quick beating, which I happily provide. This hit and run is going to continue for a while, by the way. Get ready. You know the drill by this point. I grind, I wander, and I get to Dr. Garo's supervillain Lex Luthor-ass lair, complete with robot underlings that explode when they die. Sadly, we can't get into this place as is, but we have a clear objective here in the form of finding and destroying the generators powering this giant gate. We take 10 steps to the west and trip over the Doctor once again. He's really gonna keep trying this shit. Ah yes, we know all furries travel in a V formation. I wander into this cave filled with switches, which I ignore for now because I'm no orthodontist and colors are too hard as a result. On the other side, we have this awful house with awful lawn decor that's blasting awful music. It's all awful, but inside, we meet the Vinny. I wish I had this man's raw, unwarranted confidence, but sadly my species just isn't capable of it. I have to assume those switches open this door in the Vinny's house, which I also assume has a generator behind it. We'll come back in a bit for that though. I headed east instead, hit the first generator, and once again, I diagnosed the Doctor with a severe case of smashed in face and move on. So, we're gonna climb this mountain here. So, at the top is a generator with a dinosaur wrapped around it using the heat to keep her eggs warm. So, of course Vegeta is a nice guy and offers to escort each egg one at a time down the mountain to this little hot spring area. We can carry one at a time, we cannot attack, and taking a single attack breaks the egg. I spent a very long time doing this compared to how long it should have taken me. I started to think I didn't know how to egg. That's ridiculous. I know how to egg. I do it all the time. So yeah, we get the 3 eggs down the mountain as my blood pressure rises, and finally that's one more generator taken down. The dino's design makes me uncomfy in a way that I can't really explain. Heading back to Vinny's cave of switches, this was about when I decided to use a guide for a hot sec. The proper way to solve it is to talk to all the townspeople below Vinny's house. Each of them will trigger lyrics from the music that Vinny's playing, and each one has a color in it. I used a guide because I was exhausted from moving and a litany of other things, but the important thing here is, why is this in your goddamn house, my guy? Sadly, this is the end of the Vinny's electricity-based Riz. We'll never forget you, Vinny. All the generators are taken care of, and we can get in that old man's secret hole easily now. I cannot get over the character portraits. Some of them look so good, like number 20 looks so menacing here. I love it. Anyway, the doctor wakes up androids 17 and 18, who are both very unimpressed with him. They destroy the remote control as the Z-Fighters arrive, but 17 and 18 just do not give a shit. Instead, they wake up number 16 against Garrow's warning, and send Garrow to the recycle bin. Trunks gets mad and tries to destroy the androids along with the entire lab, but he's just not good enough. Alright, android pursuit time, let's get it on. Vegeta finds them pretty quick and gets a pretty major ego check despite me absolutely dominating the actual fight. Android mommy knocks out literally everyone except Krillin and takes off. Vegeta screams and flies off. Piccolo tells everyone else to get Goku someplace safe to recover, and then he says some cryptic stuff before leaving and telling everyone not to follow or they'll be sorry. Thankfully, Krillin susses it out and explains that Piccolo likely went to Kami's lookout to fuse with Kami, reuniting Piccolo's two separated halves. Talking about this is weird with Daima hitting its finale. Time isn't real, I swear. So Kami already knows what's up since they share thoughts with Piccolo, but Kami wants a little time to see how things play out. He's not convinced that 17 and 18 are the actual threats to Earth in this timeline that they are in Trunks's. Piccolo agrees to give him some time. We cut back to the gang at Goku's house, contemplating next moves, and Bulma waltzes in with a picture from one of her corporation's literal surveillance satellites. The picture in question shows the same time machine Trunks used to get to this time. It's a one-of-a-kind, and it seems more time travel shenanigans are happening. Time to investigate using our newest character, Future Trunks. We're gonna stop by Corrin's tower first, though. Master Corrin won't give us any more of his magic beans. He'll trade us one for every 3 fish we bring him, though. I forgot to ever give him fish, and I didn't run out of beans until the very end of the game. Once again, this information is useless to you, and once again, you're welcome. Kindly drop a like. Back to the actual objective. More grinding ensues, we find the time machine, and it looks all kinds of old and fucked up. Something blasted its way out and left behind this egg thingy. So of course, we're gonna go looking for the little face-hugging bastard. Trunks also deduces that this time machine has been here for about 4 years. This is where I stopped trying to follow all the timelines and paradoxes, cause man does it get convoluted. The key point here is that this thing has been here since before Trunks came to this timeline 3 years ago, and it probably carried something bad. A few screens later, I get jump scared by a pirate robot. Fun fact, this thing only appears in the anime and these games despite its great design. Boy tries to roast me but gets cooked instead, and we find this cicada exoskeleton. It's concluded it probably has something to do with that egg in the old time machine. I've always been kind of sad that we never get to see like larval bug cell crawling around and doing stuff. I don't know, I like niche things. We cut back to Kami telling Piccolo that he has apparently known about this giant bug thing for a while and knew it was going to be a massive problem, and he told no one. Cut back to the Z-Fighters again, and we catch a news broadcast saying that all 15,000 residents of the city just vanished, leaving behind nothing but clothes. This is where I'd make another questionable joke, but that's too easy. Kami gives Piccolo a final little speech before deciding it's time to fuse with Piccolo and reach their super Namek potential. This also triggers Piccolo to say some edgy shit and call himself the Namek. Alright, let's go stop Bug Boy right after some grinding. You knew this was coming. Here we get to see what this super Namek transformation can do, and Piccolo literally just takes off his cape and hat. Puts him back on when he reverts too. I'm easily amused and thought this was hilarious. Okay, off to Ginger Town to stop Cell. Piccolo confronts him, Cell fucking hisses at us, and Piccolo says, "Call me the Namek," which Cell politely does, as he also says he's gonna enjoy absorbing him. This fight was pretty one-sided for me. Punch Cell up and down this place till he hits about half health, at which point he uses a Kamehameha and blows off Piccolo's arm. As a last request, Piccolo asks Cell to explain what's going on and who the hell he is. Cell obliges and formally introduces himself as a bio-android made by Dr. Garrow, incorporating cells from the greatest fighters known at the time. Goku, Frieza, Vegeta, Piccolo, it's all in there. Cell also explains that as they speak, Dr. Garrow's lab is incubating him in an underground bunker. To top all of this off, Cell reveals he needs to absorb androids 17 and 18 to reach his perfect form. See, in his timeline, Trunks destroyed the androids before he could absorb them, so Cell hijacked a time machine, reverted to larval form, and came back here. This long conversation gave Piccolo enough time to regrow his arm, but just as he's about to teach Cell a lesson, Cell flies off. Then Vegeta flies in, and marvels at Piccolo's new power. The other fighters join us, Piccolo explains everything, and we take off for the doctor's lab. I wandered for a moment in the wreckage because I wrongfully assumed the bunker would be under the former lab. Then I checked the map and realized no, it's past a Trunks level gate. Behind said gate, we find the bunker, which features a little blueprint image of Cell on the table, which is pretty cute. Not so cute is this tiny Cell fetus, which Trunks quickly disposes of. He blows up the central computer, which starts a self-destruct sequence, and we escape as the lab caves in on itself. It's all very dramatic. Time to go check up on Goku, and good news, he's doing well. Completely fine now, in fact. He hops out of bed and already had sensed the situation while asleep, which means he knows we're in some deep, dark trouble. Since time is of the essence, Goku opts to use the hyperbolic time chamber, a pocket dimension of sorts where time flows far, far faster than our world, allowing seemingly rapid training and powering up. Upon following Goku, it's learned that only 2 people can enter the chamber at once. So it's going to be father-son pairings one at a time. Vegeta and Trunks opt to go first, with Goku telling Piccolo he should probably head back to Roshi's island to intercept the droids, which is exactly what we do because I would never blow off a main quest to power level. Sadly for the androids, Goku can't come out and play today, but our lime-flavored alien is here for a good time instead. Piccolo leads them off to a more isolated locale and the fight begins. Going Super Namek has me smacking around 17 pretty damn effectively. His health hits a threshold, the island gets destroyed, and the androids relocate our dance. Piccolo puts on his boogie shoes and 2-steps android 17 right to the ground. Right after I died about 5 times trying to clear this fight. Oh good, Cell showed up. I'm sure he's definitely not going to absorb android 17 in a way that will awaken a new fetish in people. Ew. Cell powers up to his second form and gains the juiciest goddamn lips ever as Tien Shinhan gives his all to stall Cell, allowing 18 and 16 to escape. Goku swoops in, grabs Piccolo and Tien Shinhan, and swoops out back to Kami's tower. Now a day has passed, which is a year in the chamber, and Trunks and Vegeta come out looking ready to rumble. They get appraised of the situation, and Vegeta takes it upon himself to take care of Cell. I don't remember the part of the saga where Vegeta wipes out the entire population of animals on this over-inhabited island, but it happens. 45 minutes later, Vegeta faces down Cell. It's an interesting fight since Cell can use this melee with his tail that drains my health and restores his, but he gets taken down pretty easily. Trunks then arrives, and we watch Vegeta make one of the stupidest, most infuriating goddamn decisions of the entire franchise. Thanks to some smooth talking, Cell convinces Vegeta to help him vor Android 18 and become complete. Ooh. Now in full cocky daddy mode, Papa Cell takes out Vegeta easily and Trunks tries to make a stand using the full power of his ascended Super Saiyan form. Sadly, while it outclasses Cell in terms of pure strength, the ascended form is too slow and unsustainable, which allows Cell to very much have the upper hand. Before Cell can finish Trunks off though, a light bulb goes off in his head. He's going to hold a tournament. If the Earth loses, he destroys it. Simple rules. Trunks scurries back to Capsule Corp to tell everyone what's going on, and talking to Bulma here is when I realized you can move the text boxes in conversations. I spent a troubling amount of time being entertained by this. Anyway, Bulma is working on removing the bomb within Android 16, and I know nothing about bomb disarmament because I'm not a phlebotomist, so I head to the other Z Fighters instead. I really like that Cell just green screened himself over the papaya ad. The stakes have never been higher. So Cell announces to the world about this tournament of his. Meanwhile, a freshly trained Goku kidnaps Dende from Namek to be the new guardian of Earth. In order to make new Dragon Balls though, Dende needs all 7 of them. If you thought I bitched about pace breaking before, oh boy, you're about to see me really complain because this is a long and tedious backtracking quest. Now, the areas in the game are pretty fun to go through, the first time. Now though, we have to get the Dragon Radar from Bulma and go back to most of the places we've already been. Slowly backtrack through those areas with very little if anything new, and it took me about an hour and a half. I have absolutely nothing to say about it. I didn't even make any notes aside from mentioning that the Kamehameha and the Spirit Bomb are fun to play with. So an hour and a half later, we have the Dragon Balls. We return them to Dende, and he rigs it so that Shenron can grant 2 wishes now instead of just 1. With Dende working on that, we head to the Cell Games Arena. This final stretch is a test of your prep and skill with every single character. We start off with Mr. Satan getting PS1 Sephiroth out of the scene before Goku opts in to fight Cell first. The fight isn't too bad, though I don't know why Cell is massive here. Goku stops halfway in to acknowledge that he just isn't good enough to beat Cell, instead volunteering Gohan to fight. Goku knows something we don't, and Gohan steps into the fray. Again, this isn't too bad of a fight. It helps that I had Gohan down every single stat increasing capsule I've found throughout the game, I suppose. Gohan admits that he's been holding back his true power because he's terrified he might go out of control. This sparks Cell to try and anger Gohan, and here is the scene that stuck with me all my life. 16 tries to blow himself up on Cell, but with his bomb removed, it doesn't work. Cell destroys 16 and blows his head clean off before unleashing the Cell Juniors to torment the other Z fighters in an attempt to enrage Gohan. Once we get done beating through the Cell Juniors with every other character, we get the iconic scene. 16's head is placed on the ground near Gohan by Hercule, and 16 tells Gohan not to be afraid of his own power, not to run from his own emotions, and his final words to Gohan, "Let it go," uttered just before Cell crushes 16's head under his foot. With that, Gohan has finally had enough, and he explodes in rage, unlocking his Super Saiyan 2 form. We get all the buffs, and our ki doesn't drain here, and our health regens crazy fast, so it's smack downtown for Daddy Cell. After Gohan hits Cell so hard, he spits out 18, Cell inflates himself. Look at this sprite! Holy shit. Cell is going to blow himself up, and take the entire Earth with it. But Goku makes a sacrifice and teleports himself and Cell to King Kai's planet just in time for Cell to kill them both. The sacrifice didn't work though. Cell reforms and comes back even stronger than his previous perfect form, with a new purpose in life in the form of ending the entire goddamn universe. Goku chimes in through telepathy, offering encouragement to Gohan as we finish the fight, father and son combining power in one massive Kamehameha wave. The final bit here is really dramatic and well done, especially compared to the soggy fart of the previous game's climax. With Cell dead, there's only one more thing to take care of. The Dragon Balls are done baking, and we summon Shenron to wish back all of the people killed by the androids. Sadly, Goku can't be resurrected again, and Goku telepaths in to tell everyone that this is how it should be, and to say goodbye. The final wish is made by Krillin, who wishes for the remaining bombs to be removed from the androids so they can live normal lives how they see fit. We then see Gohan flying across some of the game's environments just before landing back home with Chi-Chi. The credits roll and we get a post-credit scene of Trunks returning to his timeline and absolutely wrecking the androids and Cell too. Then it's back to the title screen, where we can pick up from right before the final battle to take care of any side quests and such or do more grinding. Okay, this ended up way longer than I planned, and I could have rambled on a lot more. Legacy of Goku 2 takes everything from the first game, polishes it to a beautiful shine, and fixes all of the problems I had with the first. The combat was a joy, the characters were a joy, the visuals, the presentation, the mechanics, the UI, this is good stuff. It does have those 2 huge pace-breaking story sections, but that wasn't anywhere near enough to make me want to stop playing. Finally playing this game genuinely made me fall back in love with Game Boy Advance era games. For a long time now, I just haven't been able to get myself to maintain enough interest to play through GBA games for fun. This changed things though. I was reminded of the crazy quality that was present on the system outside of the Pokemon games. You just have to wade through some shovelware to get to it. So the question of, does Legacy of Goku 2 live up to the hype that I remember? It absolutely does. It deserves all of its hype, and I can't wait to play the third game. Yeah, Jerobi looking like he tried to out-pizza the Hut. Welcome, welcome. I'm Sugarwater, and it's time to finish off the series of reviews that I started months ago and finish the Legacy of Goku Trilogy. No, I don't count Transformation. This trilogy is interesting to talk about because growing up in the Toonami era of Cartoon Network, DBZ only semi-recently hitting the US officially, I remember these games being everywhere. And yet, if you recall, I thought LOG was pretty mid, but entertaining enough. LOG 2 was better, but not the best. And you can't recall my opinion about Boo's Fury because I haven't told you yet. Slow down. For my reviews, I generally don't take development history or circumstances into account, because while I do love knowing these things, I'm more concerned with the actual end product that was put out. A bad game's a bad game, even if its development was super cursed. The end result is still bad. It's like when a show adds important canon details in a podcast or something, but like, that wasn't in the show, that's not part of the show. I'll admit I'm going into this with a bit of nostalgia. Now, while I never played these games as a kid, I'm about to get crucified for this, the Boo Saga might be my favorite one. Listen. Okay, the first time I watched Goku go Super Saiyan 3, being a kid at the height of their Dragon Ball obsession, I lost my damn mind. Plus, I just love Boo so much. He's perfection. Fight me. Boo's Fury, the final game in the trilogy, despite not sharing the LOG title. Is it good? Is it deserving of that 62 on Metacritic? Do we still get a crunchy GBA compression FMV opening? No. We don't get an FMV opening, but it's still an alright first impression. We got this clean logo, got the blonde boys here, and Boo looking perfect as he tends to do. And you know me, I gotta look at the options, and there's sound effects volume, music volume, and thank God we got text speed. You know I'm cranking that all the way up. Also got an option to view the credits, which I appreciate. Let's hop in though, and we even got a multiplayer option. Okay, get some link cable action going on maybe. Too bad I got no friends.
The gang's all here.
Got multiple save files, I like that. We got a quick recap of the last game, but it's not very in-depth, so not the best. Since that means anyone not familiar with the previous games or the source material would be entirely lost. Now, you might be saying, well, Sugar, why would anyone have bought this game if they weren't already fans? But to that I say, it's still not good design. Games are meant to be playable as standalone experiences, even if they're part of a series. They should still be able to be understood and enjoyed, and as a result be a possible inroad for those people to get into the series or source material. This recap is throwing around names and concepts with the assumption that you already know very well what they all mean. The recap ends with foreshadowing about the coming threat, while this veiny sack looks at me like it's gonna follow me home. Ugh. We kick off taking control of Goku up on Snake Way. The presentation and style so far are much better than the last two games. Got some great looking sprites, character portraits have come such a long way, and even the text boxes feel extremely Dragon Ball. Controls are the same as the previous game. Move with the D-pad, run by double tapping a direction, melee attack with A, B uses the selected special attack, L cycles specials, and R is your guard. I never used most of these in combat, and I'll explain why in a bit. For now, we gotta mosey on over to King Yama. To get to our current destination, the Grand Kai's planet, we gotta catch a ride on the higher plane. Alright, that's it. Reviews over. 10 out of 10 game. Our plot here actually starts with the Kai tournament arc of all things. You'll see later on, but this game is wild with how it ties parts of the anime and movies into the main plot. So this is our higher plane. Yo, I wouldn't get on this thing right now. Planes are crashing every day, and this old boy looks like it was made at Dollar Tree. By some miracle, we arrive alive. Already the characterization is way stronger in this game. Even all the NPCs have somewhat unique portraits and interesting things to say that make them feel like genuine characters. Got King Kai over here drooling on the Grand Kai's whip. Speaking of, I've always loved the Grand Kai, man. He's just the chillest old dude. He's so great. So the winner of this tournament gets shortlisted for private fighting lessons
lessons with the Grand Kai, which normally takes 10,000 years or more of training to even be considered. So taking the W here is a big deal. To start things off, we were told to head through the forest and gain some advice from other fighters. And of course, the advice is actually useful explanations of controls and mechanics. There's even a guy who remarks that it's weird that everyone is talking about pressing the A button like this is a video game or something. This is a good tutorial. It's not obtrusive in the slightest and something you can completely blow right past if you're a returning player. Gives you the tools and knowledge you need, but doesn't force it on you if you want to jump right in or already know your way around the game. Plus, it integrates it in a narratively fitting way using the context of gaining wisdom from other fighters. This is also where we get introduced to a full equipment system. We finally are in proper RPG territory, lads. For all of the playable characters, we can equip a body piece, a leg piece, an arm piece, and an accessory. In this case, we receive the 1-ton boots and 1-ton armbands. Both decrease your speed, but give you loads more XP for every enemy defeated. These also get upgraded versions up to like 200 tons. So power leveling in this game is just, oh, it's so beautifully streamlined. We'll get into stats and all that later, don't you worry. For now, let's get into some combat. Not a ton has been changed, but it certainly has been refined. This is so smooth now. Everything is much snappier, much quicker, much more accurate. Not to mention that now when killed, enemies explode into these showers of Zenny and sometimes items, which is just so satisfying, dude. If you time your attacks and movement, you can easily stun lock single enemies and just beat the hell out of them. Critical hits now also send enemies flying backwards and shake the screen dramatically, which is also pretty satisfying. Enemies even guard and use different tactics. Combat feels pretty good so far. On the other side of the forest is the first level gate, something returning from the previous game. You have to be a specific character that's indicated by the color of the number on the door, and that character also has to be the same level or higher than that number. I've already been grinding levels, so this door doesn't stop me, but the big metal door inside does. Naturally, I just try to open it, which of course doesn't work. Then I ram Goku's face into it for a bit because I don't know, I thought it was funny. And then I get a crazy idea. What if I tried to Kamehameha it open? And yeah, that actually works. Special attacks and abilities actually have utility outside of combat. That's some mechanical variation, and it's beautiful. It feels like the game's finally acknowledging that while puzzles and keys are great, these characters are walking WMDs, and there's no reason not to let them just smash through some things. Inside the door, there's another instance of mechanical variation, with Goku's instant transmission, being used to pop past this barrier and grab the chest inside. At this point though, I was drained on ki because of me screwing around in the forest, so I was worried I might be a bit stuck for a moment, but I tried to leave and instead the game stopped me, told me how to get past this barrier, and refilled my ki, preventing a soft lock as well as offering a helping hand if it wasn't clicking for you what you needed to do. That's a nice touch. There's already so much more care in this game. It really feels like the developer Webfoot was starting to gain noticeable experience with game design, and I love to see that. With the tutorial behind us, it's time for the tourney to start, and after the Kais are done with their pissing contest, it's time to fight against Pycon and his Doug Dimmadome ass hat. So what's a boss fight look like? Okay, maybe the second phase is more intense. Both these lads are holding back, so let's pop off at full strength. I'm sure that's just a fluke because it's the first boss. Let's just move on. Chapter 2 gives us control of the now 17, I think, year old Gohan. And man, I love that you can just walk around Goku's house. It never gets old for me. Your wandering is even rewarded by a Z-Fighter exhibit you can find hidden in one of the rooms. We'll get to what those are near the end of the video. For now, the important thing is that there's so much detail and care taken in the environments. Most places are far more scaled down and condensed, and that's that's such a good thing. The last game was so expansive, but it also felt so empty. We gotta get moving though. Time to pilot Gohan over to school. Just like his father, Gohan stumbles into trouble as these bandits are robbing a bank, I think, and Gohan steps in. Of course, he doesn't want people knowing about his crazy ass powers, so he goes Super Saiyan to give himself a little disguise. Though I still think it's funny, he went Super Saiyan to beat up some normal dudes. This little spectacle starts the rumor of the Golden Fighter, a super-powered vigilante. Ain't got time for that though, we gotta get to class. Right after talking to this young lady who... Ma'am... Nah, I kinda get it. Rumors spread fast in this city because Gohan's classmates are already gossiping about the Gold Fighter, and Videl, being the sharp lass that she is already on to Gohan. Class ends, and it's time to go get the iconic disguise from Bulma, the true hero of humanity, the one and the only.
Hi-ya-ho! Here we go! I'm the man with the plan to uplift the good and root out the bad till we're living like we should. Hi-ya! Whoa-ho, uh-huh. Now you understand that I'm the... Great Saiyaman!
In case you were wondering, by the way, yes, you can still get infinite amounts of Mrs. Brief's cookies. They restore 5 points of health, and now's a good time to talk about those items. So this time around, we have tons of different healing items that restore varying amounts of HP and ki, and you can stockpile them. They're fantastically balanced though. Trust me, I tried to break the game with them, but it functions like potions in Pokemon, where you can't really get a hold of too many high-level items early in the game. They're really well balanced, and it doesn't really matter at all because, as you'll see in a bit, I found different ways to break the game that make any kind of recovery item pretty much unnecessary. Having said that, I appreciate all the effort here, man. Like, this is well done, and each item has its own fun description in addition to telling you what it does. Back to our story though. Time to dispense some vigilante justice onto the ne'er-do-wells and hooligans of Hercule City. A lot more care was given this time around to making enemies different. Some will block a lot and wait for an opening, some will try to maintain distance and use range attacks, and some of them will attack infrequently but use high-powered attacks. This is all made pointless pretty soon, but it's ambitious, and I respect it. Combat is satisfying and fun all the way through the game, by the way. That snappiness and refinement of combat I talked about before keeps it almost addictive. After beating enough cheeks, we gotta scoot to school, but once we get there, Videl has to dip out because, as Hercule's daughter, she gets notified of crimes and goes out fighting them. Gohan, being the gentleman he is, follows to make sure she stays safe, which it's a good thing he did because Videl bit off way more than she can chew here. This isn't related to anything, but I laughed really hard at this dude having a shirt that just says huge. The Great Saiyaman pops in right after Videl. Videl gets immediately folded, and as soon as the criminals are dealt with, she interrogates the Great Saiyaman about their identity. Gohan runs off, but stumbles upon a corrupt circus owner who did some poaching of the pterodactyl variety. Or is it a pterodon? Anyway, we off to the circus to steal back that stolen animal. It's not too much of a challenge, and on the way out, the circus folks roll up in an actual goddamn tank. How do you have this? This is also about the time where I had a fun little thought. Let's get nerdy for a sec and talk about the stat system. In Boo's Fury, all your characters start off right about the level where they would have been at the end of the previous game. With each level gained, you get 3 stat points that you can put into whatever stat you want. The only limit is that no stat can exceed your current level. So, for example, if you're level 77, it won't let you increase a stat past 77. You have 4 core stats: strength, power, endurance, and speed. Strength dictates how strong your physical attacks are, power is how strong your ki attacks are, endurance is your defense, and speed is movement speed. Speed can't be increased directly, but can be bumped up by equipment or things like going Super Saiyan, but the others can all be increased with stat points. As I said, this is about the time I had a little idea. What if I just dump everything into strength? So I started doing exactly that to see what happens. What happens is you solve the game. I kept this strat the entire way through the game, keeping all my character strength at the cap as they level. I had no need for blocking, no need for special attacks, no need for ki at all outside of mechanical uses, and you would think this would cause combat to feel boring, but it's actually really fun to me. Being able to just run through and one one-shot most enemies. Actually makes me feel as powerful as these characters are supposed to be, you know? Getting back to Gohan, we free our little dino friend, and Videl subtly tricks Gohan into revealing his hero identity as the Great Saiyaman. She promises she'll keep it secret as long as Gohan enters the upcoming World Martial Arts Tournament. The poor people of this world, they just keep trying to enjoy a normal-ass martial arts tournament, but crazy shit happens every single time now. Goku brain phones in to tell Gohan that he's going to be allowed back to the world of the living for 24 hours, so he can compete in the tournament and see his family. After informing everyone, we head back and talk to Goten. He wants to help Gohan train, which is just so wholesome. First though, we cut to King Yama's domain where a soul cleansing tank explodes, resulting in, that's right, it's Janemba baby, fitting chronologically into the main plot. I love this. We'll return to this when it's time though. Right now, let's enjoy this little minigame where Gohan has to avoid the stones thrown by Goten. There's a lot of these little bits in the game, and you'd think they kill the pacing and feel out of place, but you'd be wrong. They all fit well narratively, none of them overstay their welcome, and none of them function in an overly complicated way. They're not necessarily anything fun, per se, but they're neat, they're fine. Harnessing the power I gained through my life experiences dodging cars on the highway, the minigame is cleared, and I think Chi-Chi might be abusive. Apparently, she called Goten a monster when he went Super Saiyan for the first time, and goddamn, Chi-Chi, calm down. One scene transition later, and I'm now driving little Trunks in the gravity chamber. You all know the scene. Vegeta tells him to land a hit, Trunks lands a hit, but Vegeta hits back. Trunks is just a kid, so he starts crying, and even Vegeta is no match for the tears of his only son. So he promises to take Trunks to the park. For this, you actually have to chase down Vegeta and land a hit, and it took me a bit, because Vegeta is one slippery bastard here. After that, we're free to wander with Trunks, but I decided to head straight for the martial arts tournament, and since this isn't really going to fit in anywhere else, it's worth mentioning that the scouter and map functions are back. Nothing of any importance with the scanner, but having the map right off the bat is very nice. Moving on. On the airship headed to the tournament, it's agreed on by all the Saiyans that no golden hair will be used for this tourney, which means maybe humans like Krillin will have a sliver of a shot. We get to walk around with Trunks and Gohan, talk to everyone, get some nice low-stakes characterization, and if you talk to Hercule, it's the goddamn open-faced club sandwich. In the locker room, we meet these two strange fighters that Piccolo has a bad feeling about. That's probably nothing. The journey starts with the junior division, so back to Trunks, and we gotta fight through a survival-style set of 10 matches. They were all comically easy, and I have nothing to say about them. The power of punching and walls is absolute. You cannot escape, children. More importantly, look how absolutely massive Spopovich and Yamu are. Boy's been drinking the milk, goddamn. And we got this ultra-wide lad talking about how he's gonna prove that size matters. I'm being tested, folks. Oh god. The main event starts with us controlling Videl, surprisingly. After destroying Spopovich, he turns the tables with the power of plot armor, and I don't know why this is so funny to me. Now we got ourselves a quick little excursion as Goku to Korin's tower to grab some Senzu beans for Videl. Once that's done, it's Gohan time at the tournament. He's up against the mysterious Kibito, and in all the excitement, Gohan forgot his helmet, so entering the tourney as the Great Saiyaman basically just outed his whole ass secret identity. Good job, bozo. Not only that, he also decides to go Super Saiyan at the request of Kibito and Piccolo. Piccolo, having learned earlier that the competitor Shin is actually the Supreme Kai, and Kibito is his steward. This show of power prompts Yamu and Spopovich to hop in the ring and pull a Kirby on Gohan's energy, with the Supreme Kai telling everyone to just let it happen, since this will allow him to follow Spopovich and Yamu back to their master. Supreme Kai and the other Z fighters take off after them, while Gohan catches his breath and tries to catch up alongside Kibito, who fills him in on what's actually going on here. So this creepy short king Babidi is a wizard attempting to wake up his father Bibidi's ultimate creation, Majin Buu, a living embodiment of evil and destruction. I was far older than I should have been when I realized the wordplay here. Bibidi, Babidi, Buu. Look, I'm not the brightest crayon in the socket. Babidi needs massive amounts of energy to wake Buu up, and with what he gathered from Gohan, he is now much closer to that goal. But we also know where he is now. With all the Z fighters gathered, we confront Babidi and his henchman, the brainwashed Demon King Deborah. Since Babidi Babidi is able to use the evil in beings' hearts to control and empower them, it's crucial that only pure-hearted beings like the Z-Fighters confront him. Good thing there's no evil anywhere in them, huh? Demon King Deborah is powerful though, and using his spit, he turns a few of the Z-Fighters to stone and takes off into the depths of Babidi's ship alongside the wizard. By this point, I was already falling into a good rhythm, keeping all the characters I could power leveled way beyond what they should be, using the weighted boots and wristbands to boost XP, and dumping every point possible into strength. Most enemies were getting one-shotted, and I was racking up Zenny like mad, which makes me think this is a good opportunity to talk about Z-Marts. Throughout the game, there's Z-Marts all with different stocks of items and equipment you can buy. You can even sell items to them, which further cements Boo's Fury as a proper action RPG. I never really bought anything or sold anything because I never had a need to, but it's good that it's there. Probably more useful if you're actually playing the game as intended instead of breaking its balancing like I am, but oh well. Even then, enemies drop tons of good gear, so I probably wouldn't be doing too much different other than actually using some of my healing items. Inside Babidi's ship, we have a few switches we need to hit to open the door to the next level. This is repeated on all the floors, with the layouts getting bigger as you get deeper inside. But there's not much else to say about it, with the exception of the last level, which has you finding pieces of the switches that you have to put back in order to trigger them. But it's fine. I haven't mentioned it yet, but this game is wonderfully paced. The last two games were extremely start and stop, with mandatory filler quests and just all around very bad pacing. This game, nah, super focused, always moving forward. I never once felt like I was just killing time till the next important event, and the only time I came close, I was happily surprised shortly thereafter. Each level of the ship has one of Babidi's mighty warriors at the end to stop us, 3 levels in total. The first of which, Pui Pui, goes down in one punch, and the second one, Yakon. I love the expressiveness of the sprites so much, oh man. For the final level, Deborah shows himself to greet us. It's Gohan's turn to fight, but he's just not as strong as he used to be. Despite beating Deborah like he owes me money, the story says Deborah is just toying with Gohan. Suddenly though, he calls off the fight and goes to speak with Babidi about something. I'm sure that's nothing to worry about. So that was indeed something to worry about. Turns out Vegeta decided to let Babidi amplify the evil in his heart in order to obtain power to finally defeat Goku. His single-minded obsession even overruling Babidi's mind control. The whole group is teleported back to the World Martial Arts Tournament. Majin Vegeta blows up a chunk of the crowd in attendance, and Goku agrees to fight him as long as they relocate to where no more innocent people will be harmed. This all works to Babidi's plan, attempting to harness the massive energy from their clash to wake up Majin Buu. While all this is happening, Gohan and the Supreme Kai rush back to Babidi's ship to try and destroy Buu before it's too late. This bit is very cinematic. As you fight Vegeta, the camera cuts back and forth from the fight to the Supreme Kai and Gohan. The fight itself is more of the same, not much to say about that, but the way it's presented is fantastic. The fight nears its end right as Majin Buu awakens. Despite Gohan and the Supreme Kai's best efforts, Buu lives again. As a kid, I was in love with this form of Majin Buu, probably partially because I was a very fat kid and had a lot of personal issues revolving around that, so seeing this beautifully chunky idiot be so powerful just hit different for me. And I mean, how can you not just love him? He's just so fun to watch. With Buu awake, both Goku and Vegeta feel his energy, and with some convincing, Vegeta agrees to postpone their fight for now. But then he knocks out Goku to go fight Buu alone. Great. I've been wrong every time, but now I'm positive this won't be a problem at all. Certainly not a problem that makes me cry over a tragic monologue. So Buu knocks around Gohan and the Kai, Deborah gets folded like origami, Vegeta blows up Babidi's ship and confronts Buu. This was the only time in my entire playthrough that I actually died. Buu hits hard here, and I royally fumbled my spacing and timing. It may be easy to find that stun locking rhythm, especially with max strength, but if you screw up with the strat even a little, you are cooked. Or at least that's what I thought caused me to die. Turns out there's actually boss fights with different mechanics. For this one, you have to actually knock out Babidi before you can even damage Buu. Once I figured that out though, the fight was over pretty fast. And now we get to that moment. If you know Dragon Ball, you know this scene. Watching it as a kid hit me like a ton of bricks, and watching it as an adult also hit me like a ton of bricks. And yeah, even in sprite form, this hits hard. Trunks flies down to Vegeta after he's soundly beaten by Boo, trying to encourage him and cheer him on. He thinks his dad is the strongest, the best, the prince of all Saiyans. He could never be beaten by this pile of bubblegum. But Vegeta gets to his feet and tells Trunks to take care of his mom for him. Vegeta calmly tells both Goten and Trunks to get far away from here. He realizes he hasn't held Trunks since he was just a baby. He pulls him in for a hug, tells him that he's proud of him, and knocks him out. Then he knocks out Goten and tells Piccolo to get them out of here. Then he says that line, "I do this for you, Trunks, Bulma, and yes, even for you, Kakarot." Vegeta releases all of his energy in a massive self-destructive blast that ends his own life, hoping to take Boo down with him. Shit, dude, for me, this might be the best moment in the entirety of Dragon Ball. This scene has been firmly planted in my brain for almost 2 decades. Even though it's been a long time since I rewatched DBZ, and as a result, a lot of the Boo saga is foggy for me, this scene is still there, and it hits so hard. Sadly, it's revealed that Vegeta's sacrifice was in vain. Boo's broken-ass regeneration capabilities allowing him to reform quickly, back at full power. Goku finally wakes up from his little nap, confused about where Vegeta and Gohan are since their energy is just gone, and heads to Kami's lookout for some answers. And this is when I discovered the ability to move text boxes carried over from the last game, and I spent a good couple of minutes just doing this. I'm not saying I'm easily amused, but this is peak right here. At Kami's lookout, a plan gets hatched by Goku. Goten and Trunks are gonna learn fusion, and an undisclosed part of this plan involves the Dragon Balls, which means it's time. Control is swapped to Trunks and Goten, and we set out to grab the Dragon Radar and go hunting. Now, when this happened, I groaned. I flashed back to Legacy of Goku 2 and the absolutely mind-numbing tedium of collecting the Dragon Balls, but I was wrong. I expected the same pace-breaking fetch quest shenanigans, but here, each Dragon Ball has a unique location with unique characters and unique things to do. Dare I say it was kind of fun. One of them has us infiltrating this ninja stronghold hidden in a forest. One has us going through the desert, finding hidden switches under destructible rocks to open the way to a cliff where we then fly down onto a train in order to stop an actual goddamn train robbery. Another puts us in an ancient Egyptian tomb filled with mummies where we gotta find the lost archaeologists and recover the treasure from deep inside. Jesus Christ, shit's getting wacky. Next, we gotta break into Pilaf's castle, smashing through walls and taking out Pilaf's super mech. Then we go to a massive airship being used by a bandit warlord who's trying to seize power, and after we take out the warlord, there's a self-destruct sequence where we have to haul ass out of the airship and... Wait. Why do we have to do this part? Couldn't Trunks and Goten just... fly off the... Never mind. Another of the Dragon Balls is in this bandit settlement that we have to equip a bandana to get into, because only bandits wear bandanas in this world, so if we have one, we must be some kind of no-good-nick. We get the Dragon Ball as a spoil from their latest raid, but then a goddamn monkey steals our bandana, and we have to slaughter the entire village to escape. The next Dragon Ball is... This might be my favorite one. Bear with me here. We head to this village that's been being terrorized by a monster that escaped from HFIL alongside a bunch of demons and stuff as a result of the problems Janemba is currently causing down there. The priest of the village has a Dragon Ball and agrees to give it to us if the monster is taken care of. So naturally, it's time to head into this forest and up this mountain, killing actual zombies along the way. And when we finally get to the peak of the mountain, it turns out that the monster is actually Broly. My brother in Christ, what? And then the priest doesn't honor his end of the bargain until we threaten him into it. What is this game? All the Dragon Balls are gathered, Shenron is summoned, Yamcha wishes everyone who died today back to life, but Goku arrives and tells Shenron to save that last wish. As it turns out, Goku had planned to save both wishes in case they were needed later. With time and safety running short, Goku teleports the gang up to Kami's lookout and breaks the news that Vegeta is dead and Gohan Gohan is presumed dead. Naturally, this upsets everyone. Ain't got time for that though, cause Babidi hijacks the entire planet's thoughts and spreads a telepathic message demanding to know the identities of Trunks, Goten, and Piccolo. Unfortunately for our heroes, the mother of one of the kids Trunks beat in the tournament is super salty and immediately gives up Trunks' name and address. Trunks just got telepathically doxxed, and now Babidi and Boo are headed to Capsule Corp. Not wanting Trunks' grandparents and innocent employees to be killed, okay, it's mostly to save the Dragon Radar, Goku heads to intercept and stall for time. This gives us the GBA version of Goku's classic Super Saiyan demonstration, educating Boo on Super Saiyan, Ascended Super Saiyan, and after a really intense transformation, the debut of Super Saiyan 3. Bro, it's so wild. We only just got someone other than Goku using this thanks to Daima. Always been my second favorite form, and one I wish was used more and given more time to shine. That's not important. So Super Saiyan 3 Goku throws down with Boo a bit, and Boo is so happy about this little playdate. You could even say he's tickled pink. Goku plays some mind games and gets Boo to thinking, why should he be taking orders from this sad little toad Babidi? So Boo has this great idea. Just kill him. Now Boo is free to do whatever a Boo wants to do. Meanwhile, Goku's time on Earth is almost up, so we gotta double time Trunks and Goten's fusion training if we want any hope of taking down Boo. This little button matching minigame that accompanies any fusion is a neat little way of making the fusion more engaging for the player, and I appreciate it. What I don't appreciate is the newly fused Gotenks getting way too cocky and taking off to fight Boo right now. The fight's the same as ever, but story-wise, Gotenks is laid out. Trunks and Goten returning to Kami's lookout to apologize and recommit to training and fighting smarter. While they do that, Mr. Satan sets off to take out Boo. It does not work, but he manages to befriend Boo along with a lost puppy and makes Boo understand that destroying and killing people is bad. But we got Janemba to talk about. Fitting neatly into chronology, Goku returns to the otherworld to find that it is all kinds of fucked up. The extremely powerful Janemba has been freed thanks to the soul cleansing tank incident we witnessed earlier, and oh, I love this. Getting to explore through all the places in Otherworld, walking through HFIL and fighting creatures while Janemba occasionally rips open a portal and tries to sucker punch you. We even get to go to heaven and find Dabura. He's looking, interesting. Your boy Dabura done got reformed. Even gives you a high-level piece of equipment as a gesture of goodwill. Good for him. So, we gotta find Vegeta here in HFIL so we can team up and fight Janemba. I don't like any part of this. Thankfully, he goes down after about 5 hits and I don't have to look at his pulsating stomach anymore. Now we got a bigger problem though.
Oh no, he's hot!
Janemba goes down again in about 5 hits, except no, he actually takes out Goku and Vegeta pretty easily, making the pair resort to using the fusion dance. And so Gogeta is born. Too bad it's extremely short-lived and Janemba goes down in 4 attacks this time, ending this little arc with the balance of Otherworld restored, and so we have our happy ending to- wait, Boo. Back to Boo. This dude shoots Hercule while he's hanging with Boo. Thankfully, Boo is magic and heals Hercule, but Boo is still furious. He yells at Hercule to get away before it's too late, and his rage reaches a breaking point, resulting in all of Boo's evil taking physical form. After the two exchange blows, the evil Boo wins, turning good Boo into chocolate, eating him, and taking on the sinister form of Super Boo. While that's going down, Goku finds Gohan alive and well, training on the Supreme Kai's planet with the legendary Z-Sword, which is almost immediately snapped in half while trying to cut a block of catchite, the hardest thing in existence. Stop laughing. But sealed inside the Z-Sword was the Elder Supreme Kai. He is old as hell, but he can unlock the true potential of fighters, which he agrees to do for Gohan after Goku offers him Bulma. This is so bad in so many ways. And wait a minute, didn't Guru already unlock Gohan's potential back in the Frieza saga? Or was that Krillin? Well, whatever. We're back to Kami's lookout where Goten and Trunks are trying to get some rest. Ain't got time for that though, because Super Boo is here and he's demanding the fight he was promised. Even though he's a full day early, he doesn't give a shit. He wants a fight now. Piccolo manages to buy just 1 hour for them. So to make the most of that hour, the boys head to the hyper hyperbolic time chamber. Inside of it, time flows differently, with every minute in the outside world equating to 6 hours in the chamber. This is a neat little part of the game just because you get to wander around the hyperbolic time chamber. If you check the map, the main area is just surrounded by question marks, and I'm sure there's some kind of hidden something here, but I didn't have the desire to suss it out. Walking around to different parts of the chamber has a cursed woods type of vibe, where if you take a wrong turn or go too far, everything just loops back to the entrance. Other than that, you spar with Goten, practice fusion a bit, and it's over faster than my last one night stand. Boo is out of patience. He is done waiting and is gonna start killing if Piccolo doesn't take him to the fight that he was promised. So thinking ahead, Piccolo takes Boo to the time chamber on the line of thought that if Gotenks fails to beat Boo, he can just trap all of them in the pocket dimension of the time chamber for all eternity, which is a good backup plan, but Gotenks doesn't know about it, and that will very quickly become a problem, just like me at the family Christmas party. You might wonder how it's going to be a problem. Well, Gotenks is comprised of two cocky children who think good warriors drag out fights as long and dramatically as possible thanks to manga and anime. As a result, they fight Boo for a bit, feign defeat, and before they can reveal their trump card, Piccolo blows up the entrance in an abundance of caution. Well, that's one way to solve the Boo problem, except it's not. Boo's fury is so great. His anger over not having access to sweets is so overwhelming that he screams loud enough to rip a hole in space that allows him to escape back to the outside world. Such is the power of his craving for sugar. Thankfully, Gotenks can go Super Saiyan 3 and also casually rips a hole in space to pursue Boo. Not before Boo turns everyone on the lookout into candy and eats him though. An epic battle between Super Boo and Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks unfolds, but just as Gotenks is about to finish Boo, the fusion ends. These children are about to die. Not to worry though, a now powered up Gohan appears and beats the hell out I can't with these animations. Boo's got a plan though. He blows himself up. It's actually a great plan though, because he can leave some bits of him hidden around the area as he reforms. So after goading Trunks and Goten into reforming Gotenks, one of his bits pops up and absorbs them, and even Piccolo, giving Boo incredible power and intellect that outclasses even Ultimate Gohan. In a last-ditch effort, the Elder Supreme Kai sacrifices his own remaining life force so that Goku can be resurrected and head down to Earth. We got one hope here, and it's Goku using Potara earrings to permanently fuse with Gohan. You think that would make his marriage weird? Gohan fumbles the earring though, and Boo seizes that opportunity to absorb Gohan and become damn near unstoppable. But hope has arrived. Due to the absolutely dire situation, King Yema sends Vegeta to Earth to try and help. Now if Goku can just convince Vegeta to fuse, Boo can be taken down. Much like my life, this fight took me a bit to figure out what I was supposed to be doing. And just like my life, what I was supposed to be doing was teleporting. Boo will hop around on these pillars throwing attacks down at you. You will dodge, and Vegeta, I don't know, tries to remember where he parked. What you're meant to do is time your instant transmission to scare Boo into falling down and doing whatever the hell this is. After each time, we're treated to some dialogue of Goku pleading with Vegeta to fuse with him so they actually have a chance against Boo. This goes back and forth a few times before Vegeta finally agrees after Goku tells him that Boo literally ate his only son, and so the ultimate warrior is born, Vegito. This leads into another very short fight with Ultimate Boo, culminating in Vegito letting himself get eaten in an attempt to rescue the others from inside. It's interesting that the most unique area in the game is Boo himself. Everything in here is wonderfully fleshy. The enemies are polyps and blood cells, the ground is organ tissue, and the water is bodily fluids. The main mechanics here are finding and destroying these,
pelvic splanchnic ganglion
to open sphincters to other parts of Boo. Eventually, you'll travel through Boo's intestines to find our friends in their stomach pod things, and you have to fight a copy of them. Thank God they don't copy stats too, or my entire run might have been stopped here. Cooked by my own kitchen. First is a copy of Gotenks, then a copy of Gohan, then Piccolo, and finally we come to a pod with Fat Boo in it, guarded by Super Boo himself, somehow. This is a straightforward slugfest of a fight that actually presented a bit of a challenge. Afterwards, the gang dips out of Boo along with all the pod people people, and Boo takes on his final and purest form. Pure, unthinking, unfeeling, undiluted evil. His power is immense and untouchable. To me, Kid Boo might be the most perfect DBZ villain. He's almost a mirror of Goku. Goku is immensely pure, kind-hearted, and a fighting genius, propelled forward by his sense of justice and desire to protect. Kid Boo is pure evil, heartless, and also a fighting genius, driven by a mindless instinct to destroy and kill with utter abandon. Both of them have a childlike and whimsical feeling to them, with Goku's being more warm and fuzzy, and Boo's being cold and offbeat, and I just love his design. I don't know, I like effective simplicity in character design. As this all is happening, the Supreme Kai reveals why this transformation happened. See, long ago, Boo absorbed the leader of the Kais, an incredibly kind and portly fellow whose influence changed Boo into his more rotund and good-hearted form. Now, without that inside of him, Boo has returned to his natural state. This is the point of no return, and the game tells you that if you need to prepare or have things to take care of, now might be the time, and to come back when you're ready to kick off the finale, which I was ready to do. So Boo immediately destroys the Earth. Thankfully, Goku manages to instant transition himself, Vegeta, Hercule, and Dende to the Supreme Kai's planet just in time. Boo, however, is now teleporting around the universe, destroying planets and searching for Goku and Vegeta. So to stop this, all that can be done is to lure him to the Supreme Kai's planet. The first to fight, as decided by the almighty rock, paper, scissors, is Goku. And yeah, even as Super Saiyan 3, with my broken stats, Boo is tough. So Goku tags in Vegeta. Both of these fights were interesting, since my usual tactic didn't really work here. Boo can now use instant transmission, and whenever I cornered him or stunlocked him too much, he teleported away and retaliated. It still wasn't too much of a challenge, but this game has been keeping me on my toes. After that, Vegeta monologues a bit to himself, finally admitting that Goku is just better. We fight as Goku one more time. It's more of the same, but now Boo can shadow clone himself. Once that's over, Vegeta agrees to stall Boo for just 1 minute so Goku can regain enough energy to finish Boo. And yeah, we have to just survive for a full minute. Thankfully, I also was maxing out the endurance on Vegeta, so even when Boo hit me, it did little to no damage, so this was pretty much a breeze. It's not working though. Goku underestimated his ability to recover, having gotten too used to the other world. Showing his true heroism though, Mr. Satan steps up to confront Boo. This causes Kid Boo to spit out Fat Boo. Wait, am I remembering wrong? Wasn't Fat Boo already taken out of Kid? Whatever. Now Fat Boo is throwing down with Boo the Kid. While this is happening, Vegeta comes up with a plan. He calls out to Dende and the Elder Kai to gather the Namekian Dragon Balls. He has them make 2 wishes to Purunga. One, to restore the Earth. The second, to bring back everyone who died in this whole incident, except for the evil ones, that is. And for the third wish, Vegeta just kinda leaves it hanging. His plan is to have Goku use the Spirit Bomb, using the energy of everyone and everything on planet Earth. King Kai helps out and lets Vegeta speak telepathically to everyone on Earth, pleading for them to give all the energy that they can. They're not very receptive though, and Vegeta heads to Boo to stall for time. It's another survive for a minute bit, same as the first. I ended up just letting Boo hit me with Kamehamehas since they didn't do any real damage to me, and it stalled him pretty effectively. Plus, by this point, I had a metric ton of healing items just in case things went sideways. My voice is dying. I'm not used to talking this long. Even with the extra time though, the people of Earth are being, well, people of Earth. They're fucking dumb and stubborn. Until Hercule steps in and speaks to them, knowing the faith they have in him and using that to convince them all to give up their energy. With a fully charged Spirit Bomb, Goku hurls it at Boo. Goku's too drained though. Boo is pushing it back. Boo is about to win. But then, Vegeta uses his final wish to Purunga to restore Goku to full strength. The final minigame starts where you have to mash the A button as fast as humanly possible, and Jesus, this was a workout. I was on this for a full 2 minutes, mashing so fast I was starting to sweat and my hand was cramping. I was wondering if I was doing something wrong, but finally, it's over. Goku pushes the Spirit Bomb onto Boo and completely annihilates every tiny bit of him, wiping his evil out of existence forever. As Boo dies, Goku asks for him to be reborn as someone good. The fight is over. Goku summons Shenron and wishes for everyone on Earth to forget about Boo, and we're free to roam around and do side stuff. Or we can start the final sequence of the game. The final fight segment was pretty great. It was a smart decision to make it function so differently from the rest of the game. It effectively stops people like me from breaking the game in a way that would take away from the finale, though I did still succeed in making it far less difficult and engaging, but I'm just too chaotic, I guess. Before we fully wrap the story, Hercule exhibits and Z-Fighter exhibits. What are they? Well, throughout the game you can find crates with either an H or a Z on them, and by turning them into either the Hercule Museum or the Z Museum respectively, you can view various props that tie into the history of Hercule or the Z-Fighters. It's nothing super interesting, but it's neat enough as a little treat if you picked up some exhibits while playing the game. Nothing I would ever feel compelled to hunt for, but it's a nice little inclusion for maniacs and completionists. I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that I missed in the game, but I wanted to write this review from the perspective of how I would play this game naturally. Now, to put a cap on everything, the final bit of the game sees the Z Gang having a party to celebrate the victory over Boo. Then it cuts to 10 years later. Things have been peaceful. Goku has a granddaughter in the form of Pan, and the whole gang is once again at the World Martial Arts Tournament. Boo has been living peacefully with his best friend Hercule. Goten has been busy being a fuckboy. Trunks is Trunks, not a lot to say there. And Goku has Boo use his magic to rig the matchings in the tournament so he can fight this kid Oob, the reincarnation of Kid Boo. Turns out King Yemma heard Goku's request for Boo to be reborn as someone good, and this kid is that kid. Boo. Kid is Kid Boo. A fight scene plays out. Goku invites himself to Oob's village to train him, which I always found really funny, and the credits roll as Goku is credited as the greatest martial arts master in the universe. Damn, what a game. After looking at the Metacritic scores, I had no idea what to expect, especially because they had Legacy of Goku 2 much higher rated than Boo's Fury. Having played it though, what the hell were they smoking and where can I get some of it? This is leagues better than the second game, and it's not even a comparison with respect to the first Legacy of Goku. Everything was so refined, focused, and improved here. The pacing, the controls, the mechanics, even just the presentation and characterization was head and shoulders above the other two games. If we're answering all my questions from the start of this video, was it good? Oh my god, yes. If you're a DBZ fan, or even just a fan of retro action RPGs, you should definitely play this one. It has its rough edges, and it wasn't the most engaging, but overall, this is a good game. It doesn't overstay its welcome either. My playthrough only took about 10 hours, and it flew by. I had fun the entire way through, and I think you will too. Or I have bad taste and you'll be disappointed. I don't know. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much. It would mean the world to me if you drop a comment, a like, and of course a sub. And as always, I want to thank my Patreon supporters for the constant support. You all are amazing people. If you'd like to support, link is in the description, along with the Discord and my Blue Sky. Until next time, everyone, I love each and every one of you, and have a good night. Maybe I'll cover transformation.